All right. So we are going to go ahead and start with a middle back opening so that we can get some nice breath going as we continue on with our practice this morning. Your block can be on its flattest setting or it can be on the middle setting. I wouldn't go any higher than that. And if that's too aggressive for you to start off, and if you've got a lot of tension in the middle back, it might be too much. You use a Pilates ball or a pillow or a bolster. Even a foam roller could be fine for this. So where you're going to put your block or your ball or your foam roller or your bolster is, I call it bra line. So middle back, thoracic spine. When this area gets locked up, it definitely will limit our ability to take a deep breath. So it's important to keep this area mobile. So maybe you try the flattest setting. You see where I have that on the middle back. And then if your head does not easily touch the ground, I recommend another block or a pillow or something under your head. You do want to feel this lifting up of this middle back happening a little bit, maybe opening across the chest and shoulders for some of you. So make sure a little bit of that is happening. Nothing super aggressive right off the bat. We want to be able to slowly move into this without creating any anxiety. I'm going to put mine on the middle setting. That's what works for me. And then I definitely want some support for my head. So you don't want to feel any way, shape, or form any straining in the neck. So get yourself situated, play with it until you find something that's going to work for you for a little bit. And then lay your arms down by your sides. I like to keep my legs bent, soles of the feet on the ground for the first at least several breaths. And then if you'd like to extend them or do something different, that's fine. But at least for starters, just bend those knees, supported position and arms down by your sides. If possible, the palms are up and open. And then if you're comfortable, close your eyes. If that's not comfortable, a soft gaze on the ceiling. So you're not looking at anything. The soft gaze or the eyes are closed so that you can start to tune into your breath. So go ahead and start to breathe as deeply as you can, sending the breath all the way to the lower belly, filling up to the ribs and then up through the chest and throat, all the way to the top, like you're filling a balloon. And then you'll exhale from the top to the bottom very slowly until you're empty. Maybe even pull the pit of the belly in at the end of the exhale. So deep breath in through the nose, all the way to the top. And a slow exhale, ideally also through the nose or through almost closed lips, if that works better for you, like you're breathing out of a straw. Big breath in, the belly fills, the ribs, the chest, all the way to the top. Exhale slowly until you are empty. And one more like that. Big breath in. And a very slow exhale. And then bringing your arms down by your sides, palms flat to the floor. And then one arm reaches long back by your ear, and then you'll switch. So arms move very slowly, alternating back and forth. So right now the palms are facing the floor when you're down by your side, facing the ceiling when the arm is reaching back. We're going to change this a little bit in just a moment. We'll externally rotate a bit in just a moment, but right now, palm flat to the floor, the other one's facing the ceiling. Keep breathing. And then palms face each other. Slight variation on this. It might feel more comfortable. It's going to feel different regardless. Some of you, it might be a little less comfortable, but it will feel different because of the position of the shoulder as you reach. Good. And then clasping your hands, interlacing those fingers above your chest, and then reaching the arms long back behind you to whatever degree they'll reach, and then bring it back up. So mine go pretty far. I'm pretty open in my shoulders. Yours may or may not go back this far. The arms can stay straight, they can stay a little bent, whatever works better for you. But really slow, intentional movements so that you'll stop before you push through anything sharp or anything more intense than like a 5 or a 7. If it's an injured area, definitely no more than a 5 in terms of what you would consider anything like pain. And just normal circumstances, nothing more intense than a 7. We're not trying to get super aggressive here. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. If you've got an injury, nothing more intense than a 5. If you're just regular, stiff, or stuck, as I like to say, then nothing more intense than a 7. And then arms down by your sides again. Take a big breath in and out. Big, long exhale. And then a snow angel kind of movement with the arms. So your movement might be bigger or smaller than mine. Maybe your hands touch the ground the whole time. Maybe they don't even come close. It's fine either way. Just tuning in as always. Make sure you're taking care of your body. Couple more big, big breaths. And one more. All right, laying those arms down by your sides again. Big breath in. And a long exhale. 2 safe ways to get out of this. One is to support your head and basically do a sit up. The other is to roll off to one side. So choose the one that's appropriate for you. Move your blocks out of the way for a moment. You're going to take a little mini Shavasana, legs extended or bent, your choice. Just taking a moment to check in and maybe feel a little bit of what happened on the back side of your body there. Hopefully you feel a little bit more open through that thoracic spine. All right, so we're going to bend those knees if they were extended, and we'll gently roll over to transition into our next thing, which is going to be with your Pilates ball. And I like to use a block, at least for this first part, for my head. So the ball goes right by, up on the rib cage, right by your armpit area. So last week we were way down here by the waist. We were dealing more with that quadratus lumborum, the QL. We've got this high today so that we're working more on the actual diaphragm, rib cage tissue. A block can be nice for support. If your head doesn't touch the ground, please put a block or something under your head. And then we just start with some breath here. Deep inhale. Maybe you put your hand on the top ribs to feel your ribs expand as you breathe in. And exhale. Deep breath in. Pause at the top of that breath and then exhale slowly. Breathe in and breathe out. If it's comfortable for you, you could drape that top left arm up and over your ear. You could also place your hand behind your head. That might feel better for you. And if that doesn't work at all in the shoulder, then you just leave your hand on your rib cage. So option again, up and over the ear, hand behind your head, or no reach at all. I'm going to take my hand behind my head. That's what feels good today, with my elbow kind of pointing a little bit towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to keep my bottom right leg bent, and my top left leg is going to extend out, getting a little length through the left side body. So that's similar to what we did last week when we had the ball closer to that waist area. Just getting a lot of length on that left side of the body by extending this top leg out. And if it doesn't work, of course, just keep the knees bent. That's, of course, more supportive with the knees bent. But if you're able, this top leg is out. We're taking some deep breaths here, thinking about length through all the way from the elbow or even the wrist down the side body on this top left side. And of course, all the while, some wonderful myofascial release work happening underneath us with the ball there. Deep inhale. Hold the breath. And a long exhale. And then we'll try, excuse me, switching the legs. Top knee bends, bottom leg extends out. And again, some of you this won't work for, maybe your back doesn't like it. If your back is not so sure about it, maybe you place a block underneath this knee. There is a little bit of twisting happening in the back, and your body may or may not appreciate that this early in the morning or this early in our practice. Modification, again, a block underneath here. And if it doesn't work, again, just keep both knees bent. If you're okay with it, top knee forward, arm reaching, and then you draw circles with that top left arm. And you notice my right arm is on the ground for some support, so I don't roll off of the ball. If a straight arm doesn't work, keep the elbow bent, hand on shoulder, and draw circles that way. Doesn't matter which way, we will go both ways with that arm. And then circle the other way. Keep taking deep inhales and exhales all the way to the lower belly. We're doing diaphragm exercise by doing the deep diaphragmatic breathing, breathing as deeply as we can, expanding our diaphragm from the inside out. And we're getting work from the outside in with that ball underneath us. One more movement and one more breath. And then rebending the knees if one of them is out straight. Relaxing that top left arm. One more big breath in and hold the breath. And then we exhale. All right. So the ball's under the right side, and then we're going to go ahead and roll onto our backs and continue to work on the right side of the body. So no ball, no block, but we're going to be doing something I like to call banana. We're going to be stretching the right side of the body. So if you are able, arms reach over your head. If it doesn't work to have it straight, they can be bent. And then you're going to arc your body over to the left. The chest should still face the ceiling. So we're arcing over and creating the shape of a banana. If you're able, you could catch your right wrist and give it a little tug. You're going to get more through the right side. Again, really trying to get that both sides of your back on the ground so we're not rolling over. So we're trying to keep that, even that right shoulder blade on the ground. So once you have that, start to move the right leg over towards the left leg. It might come all the way over, it might not. And then maybe you even cross the right ankle over the left ankle if that is available to you. And then we're just going to breathe. If you start kind of cramping up on the left side, just do some adjusting, kind of move around and then move back into it. Sometimes that left side gets a little crampy because it's trying to help you, but just kind of work it out and then come back to it. And then keep breathing. If you stop feeling anything, move a little more. Create a more bent banana. And remember, chest really is still facing the ceiling. We're not rolling over. Hips are still facing the ceiling. Take this as deep as it makes sense for you. That might mean for some of you the ankle crosses, some of you not. Some people will grab your wrist, some of you won't. Some people, your arms will be straight. Some of you, your arms will be bent. And some of you, it won't even work to have the arms overhead. You might need to kind of just take your arm across your body. So make your adjustments so you can stay for another 5 big breaths. Couple more big breaths. You guys look good. After your next big breath, coming back to center, and then bend your knees and windshield wiper your knees side to side. Step your feet as wide as your mat. So your feet will be wide, knees, windshield wiper, side to side. And then walk your feet closer together. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left, right over left, and then keeping the figure 4 shape. I think if I angle this way, you can see. You're going to start to drop your knees to the left. So notice I'm keeping the shape. I'm not turning it into a spinal twist with everything crossed over like I'm sitting with a skirt. Keeping the figure 4 shape. I'm dropping the knees and the feet and that right foot towards the ground over to the left. And then I'm actively thinking of pushing this right thigh away from me. I might even take my block and push it away. So see, I've got this figure 4 shape. That shape stays. So I'm not letting the knee fall over. And then I might even use a block to push this thigh away. So we're continuing to do some work on this right side. You might feel a little on the left, but mostly the right hip is what you are trying to feel here. And then you can actively just use your strength to muscularly with the leg press that right knee away from you. Or sometimes, like I said, it might be nice to use a block. So continuing to open up the right side of the body, the diaphragm, the hip now, the whole right side body. So we're holding this a couple more breaths, and then we're going to move in and out of it. So we'll get some dynamic movement going in just a moment. One more breath. Let it go. All right, so we'll take the block away if you were using it. And then again, you've got the figure 4 shape here. Drop the knees over, back towards the ceiling. So we're not going right and left. We're just going left, actively pushing that right knee away from us, keeping that figure four shape. And we rock in and out of this. Couple more times. Okay. And we'll unwind. We're going to continue focusing on the right side of our body. So we're going to take a block, or some of you might like a foam roller. We're going to be dealing with this lat area, which can be a little tender. So if you need to use a foam roller instead of a block, please grab a foam roller. If you don't have one, then putting a towel between your armpit area and the block could be nice. So we'll start with the hand palm down. I like to support my head with my other hand. That's a choice. You could take it or leave it. And then rolling towards your belly. Don't roll off your block or your roller. And then rolling back. So you need to be far enough forward on your block that you don't fall off the back. Now, if you're not feeling anything, you need to adjust your body. Maybe you need to get a different part of that lat, the armpit area on that block. The corner of the block is what I've got kind of really working in there. And if it's too much, of course, please do what you need to do to support yourself with a towel, or adjust and switch to a foam roller instead. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and flip that right palm up now. This will change things just a little, for some of you a lot. Rolling towards the belly, rolling towards the back. And then some of you might like a little more, and that would be both hands behind the head. If you've got both hands behind the head, make sure that right elbow stays lifted so you don't run into the ground with it. And that's going to put a little more pressure on there, which may or may not be appropriate for you. So check in, do what you need to do to make sure you're taking care of yourself. We'll do that a couple more times, rolling towards the belly, rolling towards the back. And let's do that one more time. All right, we'll come off of that block, come onto hands and knees, and then walking yourself to the left corner of your mat. My left forearm might be on the ground, and then I'm really reaching that right arm towards the corner. I might even cross over, but do what you can to really feel this right lat, right side body. I've got my knees kind of wide so that I can even shift my whole body over to the right and get a stretch from my elbow through my armpit, the side body, all the way down to my right hip. That's where I feel it. Maybe you can get something similar. If you're really, really stuck in one area, of course, you're likely to feel that one area the most, but ideally you're feeling something all the way down that whole right side body. Big breath in. And a long breath out. One more time. Big breath in. Long breath out. And then we'll walk ourselves back to just a basic hand and knee position, moving through some cat-cow. So really rounding out that upper back. Remember where you had that block earlier. See if you can really round that out. In the very beginning, we have the block there, and then lift and lengthen, pull the heart forward. Don't dump into the lower back. Think of that rib cage dropping and the belly getting longer. Tucking around, and we lengthen. And one more time, we tuck and round and lengthen it out. All right. We're going to go to our second side, Pilates ball, maybe a block for your head. Ball high on that armpit, close to the armpit, not on the armpit, but way up high on the rib cage, close to the armpits. And we start with some nice big breaths in and out. I like to have my top hand or arm on the rib cage so I can feel the expansion happening, or maybe even on my belly. All of this assisting us in our pursuit of deeper breathing, which our breath is so important for our overall physical and mental health. You can start moving that bottom leg, it stays, and then that top leg reaches out. Option to drape the arm up and over the ear. Maybe it's bent and stays behind your head. I'm even kind of grabbing onto the block a little bit. And if that doesn't work in your shoulder, leave it on your body. Top leg out, bottom leg bent. Think of length through the right side body. Couple more big breaths. Yeah. And we're going to switch the leg position. The top knee bends forward, bottom leg extends out. And then again, if your back is not loving this, you could support with a block underneath this right knee. A little bit of spinal twist happening here, which may or may not be appropriate. And then we start with circles on the top right arm. Arm can be straight or bent, whichever is appropriate for you. If it's bent, it looks like this. And straight, it looks like this. And we'll go the other way. All right, couple more big breaths here. Moving the arm or finding stillness, you choose. And then rebending the bottom leg if it's extended. Couple more big breaths. Really breathe into the belly. Try not to have your shoulders rise first. And then finding your way off of the ball, off of the blocks. Set them off to the side. A little mini Shavasana here, legs straight out. Take them as wide as your mat. Take a breath. And then we're going to make a banana shape with our body, stretching the left side. So arms reach over the head to whatever degree they can. And we start to arc over to the right. So we're stretching the left side. Remember the chest and hips continue to face the ceiling. Maybe you grab your right wrist, give it a little tug, and then start to walk the left leg over towards the right. Maybe the ankle crosses over ankle. Whatever variation allows you to feel the left side body stretching. If the right side starts to cramp up, just kind of rearrange, move around, and then re-enter that stretch. See if you can get the body to soften into this. For some people, this stretch feels like nothing. For some people, this is really intense. Keep softening left shoulder blade down towards the earth as you arc your body over to the right. One more big breath in and out. Let's start to find your way back to center. Unwind the legs, bend your knees, step your feet as wide as your mat. And the legs rock, knees rock, slowly side to side. All right. So we're going to walk the feet a little closer together. And then the left ankle crosses over the right, creating that figure four shape. I think I need to flip around to let you guys see this a little better. So left, there we go, over right thigh. And then we start to drop the foot over to the right. And then actively think of that left knee pulling away. I like to use a block to assist that. This foot might touch the ground, it might not. If you want it to touch something, you could put a block there if it doesn't quite touch the ground. And it doesn't have to for this to work. So the most important thing is this left hip area is getting some opening. So you can actively push that thigh and knee away, or perhaps a block. And then breathing into the left hip. Might feel little on the right, but the main focus is this left in that hip joint, getting a little opening with this left knee pulling away from you. Couple more big breaths. And finding your way back to center, setting the block off to the side.
We're going to move in and out of this. If you need to readjust, get back to your figure four shape, do that. And then the knees fall over and then back, pointing towards the ceiling. Keep pushing this left knee away from you actively. So you're keeping that figure four shape. Take it over, back to the ceiling. Take it over, back towards the ceiling. Okay, good. So we'll be using our block or our foam roller for our lats on our left side, right underneath that armpit area. Remember, if you're on your block or the roller, don't fall off the back. So you need to move a little forward on there. Palm down to start. Option, hand behind the head if you'd like. I like that. It feels more supportive for me. Roll toward the belly, towards the back. And then again, just checking in. Make sure it's the appropriate amount of pressure. Good. And then let's go palm up. So externally rotating that left arm. Couple more rocks front to back with the arm extended. And then option to take both hands behind the head. If that's too much, just leave your arm on the ground. We'll take a few more movements here, front to back. Okay, let's come off of that block or roller, set it off to the side. We're going to find a hands and knees position, angling off to the right so that we can really stretch that left side body, the left armpit area. Take your knees kind of wide so that you can shift your hips a little left. You can even relax your forehead down onto your right forearm if that feels good for you. Keep breathing into the left side body. Three more breaths. Finding your way back to center, leaving your forearms on the earth and moving through cat cows on the forearms. A little bit more middle back focused when we stay on the forearms. Couple more times. One more. All right. Good. So we are going to grab a single yoga tune-up ball. I'm going to be placing it back onto the right side. We're going back to the right side now, under the right glute, right in the center. Step your feet wide on your mat, and then the right knee goes to the right, points towards the ceiling, to the right. If you need more, both knees can fall to the right and then point towards the ceiling. Couple more times like that. Good. Walk your feet a little closer together. Right ankle over left thigh. And shimmy the hips right to left. Good. And then we'll take that right foot off, lift up, just slide that ball over to the left glute, right in the center. Step your feet wide. Left knee goes out, points towards the ceiling. Maybe both knees if you need a little more. Walk your feet a little closer together. Left ankle over right. Move those hips side to side. Couple more shimmies, right to left, right to left. And then unwind the legs. Take the ball out and roll to the side to make your way up. So we're going to find a 90-90 position. So I'll show you from a couple different angles here. So notice my right shin is in line with the front of this mat. My left shin is essentially in line with the side of the mat over here. So the right leg is forward. I'll show you this way. Okay. So whatever you need to do to have your body be comfortable, this one might be a little more forward or a little more back. So we don't want it cramping up on this left side. So maybe the knee needs to come a little more forward. As best you can, it's 90 degrees. Maybe this one's a little more bent if the knee is happier with that. So finding something that looks like this, if there's no way this is working for you, some of you might need to actually slide a block underneath this right leg. So it's kind of on my booty, kind of on my leg. So you can see this the long way, but on its flattest setting. So that might make it more available to you if you're super, super tight in your hips. So we're going to be moving from the front to the back here. So we're going to find our body as best we can over this right leg. You could even really reach that left arm, but we're not staying, so don't get too comfortable. And then rotating as best you can towards this left back leg. So we're moving back and forth from the front, really reaching that left arm if you can. And then rotating and turning whatever degree we can towards this back leg. We keep moving just like that. Reach. And then we rotate it towards that back leg.
One more time, reaching forward. And then one more time, we rotate towards that back leg. I'm going to take the block out. I don't need it, but I just wanted to show you what that would look like. And then from here, kind of finding the center point, we'll place the hands behind the head. And then we're leaning towards this left foot. So a little internal rotation on this left leg, a little stretch on that right leg, on the right side body, excuse me. If the hands behind that doesn't work, if you're tipping over, can't hold it, just put your hand on the ground. Maybe just one hand is behind your head. Okay, so if you're falling over, please support yourself. I don't want you to fall over, but you're getting length through the right side body. All the while, we're getting a little internal rotation work happening on this left hip. So I'm aiming my body towards my left foot, the back foot, either both hands behind the head or one can be on the ground. And then we're going to move in and out of this. So hands behind the head or maybe just one hand. So we lean, we bring it back up. Again, if you're going to fall over, please put your foot or your hand down by that back foot so you don't tip over. So we bring it up and down, lean it over, stretching through the right side body, internal rotation on this left hip. Couple more times, we move in and out of this. One more time. Okay, we're keeping the legs, but you're going to be placing your right hand on the ground outside of your right leg. We're going to take a little internal rotation work in this hip now by trying to lift that foot up. That might get crampy. If it does, just kind of massage it out. And then we lift it up and down, up and down. The more you lean on this right hand, the easier it will be. If you don't need to lean, then don't. Hands off the floor. It's harder with the hands off the floor. You'll probably notice that. The more I'm leaning, the easier it will be. So find the right amount of work, but it not to the point where it's cramping on you. So find the appropriate amount. So working on a little mobility here. Yes, I know it feels like strength work. That's okay. But it's really working on mobility in there. And you get a little strength work at the same time. All right. So now, again, right hand can be on the ground for this. The knee, left knee, points as best you can towards the ceiling. Mine isn't even pointing towards the ceiling, but it's aiming in that direction. And then it comes down, lifts up. And notice I'm not letting this right leg move. So I'm keeping this one in position here. You can hold it if you feel like it's going to move. And then we're really focusing on this left leg, getting mobility in there. When we lose the mobility in the hips, the knees and the back of the hips will suffer. Couple more. Okay, we'll let that knee relax. And then we'll take external rotation of the hip, which is going to be to come forward over this right leg to whatever degree we can. Some of you will be over the shin or the knee. Some of you will be more over the foot. You aim where you need to aim to feel a stretch in the right hip. Some of you might like blocks for some support. So do what you need to do to be able to stay. You're going to be here for a minute and a half. A minute and a half is our point where we have to go to have something change in our bodies. So our body recognizes something's happening at that 90-second mark. Somewhere in and around there, our bodies will likely soften. We don't stay that long, nothing's going to change. So keep breathing, keep melting, keep softening. Let your neck relax. You can even support your forehead with your hands if you're down that low. Well, if you're not, you can even put a block up high and bring the ground closer to you.
5 more breaths. Slowly start to make your way up. Hands can be behind you for this. If they're not, it's harder, but we're going to be windshield wipering those legs side to side. So if your hands are off the ground, it's much harder. If that's not working for you, of course, just put your hands down. The feet stay pretty wide on these. So we're getting some nice movement in those hips. Some of you might just easily transition to side number 2, 90, 90. Some of you might need to do some readjusting. Okay, remember if it's really not working for you, a block might be nice here. And we're going to move back and forth from this left leg over the shin, really reach that right arm out. And then we rotate back towards the back leg. Keep moving forward over the front leg and then over the back leg. And over the front leg and the back leg. One more time, we go over that front leg and over the back leg. All right. So I'm going to leave the block this time so you can see what it would look like if I had the block underneath me. Hands behind the head, or remember, hand on the ground. If you're on top of a block, you'll probably want another block over here if you're tipping and need a hand for support, but you're aiming over towards this right foot with the elbow, or if the hand is on the ground or on a block, maybe it's more my ear aiming towards that foot. Okay, we're just going to stay right there, and then eventually we're going to move in and out of it. So we've got the hand on the ground or on a block, maybe both hands behind your head, obviously more intense with both hands behind your head. Little internal rotation work happening on this right leg, and at the same time, a nice stretch through the left side body. Keep your core a little tight if you feel like you're taking it into your back at all. All right, we move in and out of it now. Hands behind the head or not, you decide. We take a little movement here in and out of this to aiming towards that foot with the ear or the elbow. Bring it up. Take it over. And we bring it up. Good. Okay. And then left hand can be on the ground. If you're sitting on a block, you're probably going to need another one for your hand over here. You can lean a little to the left and lifting this right foot up and down. Remember, if you don't lean at all, it's harder, which may or may not be appropriate for you. Working on the mobility, not flexibility, but mobility. That means moving a joint through a range of motion with control. Mobility is really important. In fact, in many ways, more important than flexibility, especially as we get older. Mobility, controlled movement through the joints. Working on mobility here as we lift the foot up and down. And then again, hand can be behind you on that left side. The foot stays on the floor, right knee. We go up and down. Or maybe you don't put your hand down. Just requires a little bit more stability if you don't put your hand on the ground. And that is not necessarily going to work for all of you. Couple more. One more.
Okay. And then we bring our body forward over this left leg. Now remember, maybe the elbows come to the ground. Maybe your hands come to a block. You're going to either aim towards the knee or the shin, or maybe even the foot, depending on you. You want to feel something in your left hip. Maybe you still have a block underneath that left thigh and glute area. If you're super, super tight in your hips, that's going to be very helpful to have a block underneath you, or a pillow or a bolster. And check in with your breath. Soften, soften, soften. We hold a lot of stuff in our hips, physically, emotionally. Stuff can get really stuck in here. So maybe with every exhale, you think about letting go, softening, inviting in all that is good, inviting in healing, inviting in positivity, inviting in joy. I saw a very funny meme on, I think, Facebook or something. It said, and it makes sense. It said, anything that brings you joy is anti-inflammatory. And I thought, oh, that's probably true. I mean, if we've got joy in our lives, our bodies soften, our bodies relax, our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and we're able to recover. And then, of course, the very first comment was, what if it's ice cream that brings me joy? I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't have the answer. Or pizza or something. I don't know. But it was a pretty funny comment. What if it's ice cream that brings me joy? Maybe it's still anti-inflammatory if it brings you true joy. Couple more big breaths. And start to make your way up and out of that. If you have the block underneath you, you'll go ahead and remove it. And we'll do some of those windshield wiper of the legs back and forth again. So back and forth, feet are pretty wide. So if they've kind of creeped towards each other, separate them a little bit more. So if they're here, you're not really getting much in the hips. So take them as wide as your body will allow. All right, good. And then finding your way onto your back. This has become one of my new, more favorite ones. Hopefully you like it too. We're going to slide the block underneath your tailbone. It can be on its flattest setting or maybe even the taller setting. So you'll decide. You might be open enough now to have it be on the taller setting. Go ahead and extend your legs out. They're going to be out as straight as your body will allow and wide, maybe as wide or even wider than your mat. And then to whatever degree your arms can come over the head. If you're tighter in your shoulders, that might be more out than up. But what we're trying to get is a nice, big, long body stretch before we take our final rest. Now, while we're doing this with the legs out, we get some hip flexor lengthening. Our hip flexors are very connected to our diaphragm. So we've been working a lot on diaphragm and middle back mobility today. The hips and the hip flexors, particularly, very connected with our ability to take a deep breath. If they're locked down, taking a deep breath will not be possible. So this is a nice lengthening out of those hip flexors. Our hip flexors are also a fight or flight, connected with fight or flight. So if they are constantly locked down, you might want to check, do a little check in and see if you're living in that fight or flight state. 3 big breaths. With every exhale, think of getting longer, softening more, letting go of all that is not serving you, creating space for joy, which of course is anti-inflammatory. I don't know if it's true or not, but I liked it. Big breath in. Makes sense to me. Long exhale. I don't know about the ice cream though. All right, slowly we rebend the knees, place the soles of the feet on the earth. If you have that block on the higher setting, just take a moment here. Well, either setting, just take a moment before you come off to reset the back. And then a little core engagement for a very safe transition off of the block. Set it to the side. And then you take your Shavasana. Maybe the knees stay bent if that feels better for you. Perhaps you extend out into a more traditional Shavasana. Once you've made your choice, take one more big, big, big breath in. Hold the breath for 3, 2, 1. Open your mouth. Let it go. Let your body melt into the earth. If you can, stay for at least 5 minutes. Give yourself this gift. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Namaste.